Tonight's stories are about the ones who watch, the ones who follow, the ones who never leave you alone. So sit down, keep the lights low, and lock your doors right now, because if someone has been staring at you longer than they should, these stories might hit a little too close to home. Welcome to Mr. Darkness. I never thought a stranger could walk into my life unnoticed. I used to believe that if someone wanted to hurt you, they would break a window, smash a door, leave a sign of forced entry. But the man who watched me didn't break in. He was already inside. 2 years ago, I moved into a basement apartment in Denver. My landlord lived upstairs, a middle-aged woman named Brenda, but I almost never saw her. The basement had a private entrance around the back, so I always felt like I lived alone. The place was small, 1 bedroom, a bathroom the size of a closet, and a kitchen that could barely fit a stove. But it was affordable, safe, quiet. At least that's what I told myself. Strange things started happening during my second week. Nothing huge at first, tiny details that were easy to dismiss. I'd leave my bag on the counter and find it on the table. A mug I was sure I hadn't used would be sitting in the sink. My phone charger wasn't where I left it. Every time I blamed myself, stress from work, forgetfulness. Then one night I woke up thirsty around 2:30 a.m. I got up to grab water, and as I reached for the fridge, I noticed the lights in the kitchen were already on. I was positive I had turned them off before bed. I stood there, staring, trying to convince myself I simply forgot. But then I saw the chair. I always slid the single wooden chair under the table after dinner, but now it was pulled out, slightly angled, like someone had been sitting there, watching me sleep. I couldn't convince myself I did that. The next day, I bought a cheap motion-activated camera and hid it on top of the fridge, facing the kitchen. I didn't want to seem paranoid, so I told no one. That night, I woke up again. Same time, same reason, thirsty. When I walked into the kitchen, I saw the camera's tiny red light blinking. It had been triggered. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. I went straight back to my room, locked the door, and pressed play. At first, there was nothing. Just me turning off the kitchen lights and going to bed. The camera timestamp showed 11:07 p.m. Then, at 1:42 a.m., movement. A closet door, the one I never used, slowly slid open. A man stepped out. Not rushed, not clumsy. Calm, like he'd done this many times. He looked around my kitchen, scanned my counters, then opened the fridge and drank my juice straight from the bottle. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand and looked directly at the camera. But he didn't panic. He smiled. Then he reached up and covered the lens with his palm. The video ended there. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just stared at the screen, waiting for him to appear in my room, waiting to hear my doorknob turn. But the apartment was silent. And that silence was worse than any noise. At sunrise, I grabbed what I could fit into a backpack and sprinted upstairs. I banged on Brenda's door, shaking. When she opened it, her expression changed instantly. Not confusion, recognition. Like she already knew. She asked one question. "Did you see him?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She hurried me inside, locked the door, and called the police. She told me she'd suspected someone had been entering the basement through the foundation crawl space, but maintenance never found anything. Police arrived in 6 minutes. They searched everything. My place, the crawl space, the attic, the property line. They found nothing. No fingerprints, no signs of forced entry. No trace of the man from the video. The officer asked if I still had the footage. I showed him. He watched it once, then again, slower. Freeze framed on the man's face. That smile. That's not a stranger. He knows exactly what he's doing. He made copies of the video and said they'd increase patrols near the house. But that night, when I stayed at a motel, I realized something. If the man was entering through the crawl space, he'd been beneath my bedroom the entire time I lived there. Listening. Learning my routine. Waiting. I never went back to that apartment. I never picked up the rest of my belongings. The police never found the man. But sometimes, when it's quiet, and the house settles, I swear I can hear a door sliding open somewhere in the dark. Like he's still there, patient as ever, waiting for the night I forget to lock the closet.
When you think of a stalker, you picture someone you've seen before. An ex, a co-worker, a stranger you accidentally made eye contact with. Someone with a motive. But the person who stalked me had none. At least, none that I'll ever understand. This began last summer when I moved into my new apartment. I work remotely, so I was home almost all the time. The building wasn't special. Beige walls, loud neighbors, a faint smell of cigarettes in the hallway, but it was affordable and close to downtown. The first message came on a Monday morning from an unknown number. "You look good in blue." No introduction. No context. I checked everything. My photos online, my profile pictures, nothing blue. That day, I was wearing a gray t-shirt. Ignored it. Later that week, another message. "Don't lock the balcony door tonight." My balcony faced the parking lot. Anyone could look up and see it. That's what I told myself. A prank. Random number. Then, I like when you read at night. That one stung. Because I read in bed, behind closed blinds, with the door locked. Someone could see me, inside my home. I blocked the number. A new one texted. Blocking won't help. My stomach dropped. I called the police. They said without a threat or physical evidence, all they could do was fill out a report. So, I installed cameras.
One in the hallway, one facing the balcony, one in the living room. I watched the feeds from my phone obsessively. Nothing. For 2 weeks, nothing. Then I found the note. It was inside my apartment, on my kitchen counter, in tiny, neat handwriting. You're most beautiful when frightened. My legs gave out. I collapsed on the floor, shaking so hard I couldn't breathe. Someone had been inside while I was home. I grabbed my keys and ran to the leasing office. They called maintenance to change the locks and offered to move me to another unit at a discount. I accepted immediately. Moving took 2 days. I threw most things into boxes without caring what went where. I skipped work. I barely slept. The new unit was on the top floor, safer. I was wrong. The first night there, my phone buzzed at 3:17 a.m. Nice view. No number, no contact, just the message. I shut the curtains. My phone buzzed again. That won't help. The next morning, I checked my cameras. All feeds were disabled. No error message, just black screens. Not online. Disabled. I bought pepper spray, slept with it in my hand. A week passed with no new messages. Slowly, I convinced myself maybe it was over. Maybe the cameras scared him off. I even started opening the blinds a little during the day. Yesterday, I found another note on the mirror in my bathroom, written backward so I could only read it after the hot shower fogged the glass. I never left. I moved in with a friend that night. I don't go back to the apartment alone. She thinks I'm paranoid. The police think I'm exaggerating. My landlord thinks I just want to break the lease. But I know the truth. He's still watching, still nearby, still waiting for the moment I feel safe again. Because it was never the apartment he wanted. It was me. I wish I could say the signs sooner. I wish I had listened to my gut. But when the danger comes disguised as someone familiar, it's almost impossible to accept. My name is LC, and this happened about 9 months ago. I moved to Seattle for school and ended up renting a room in a small 3-bedroom house with 2 other students, Emma and David. They were both friendly, but Emma and I became close almost immediately. We shared the same major, the same taste in music, even the same anxiety about being far from home. David was quieter, nice enough, always polite, computer science major. He spent most of his time typing away in his room, headphones on. We'd see him at dinner sometimes, but that was it. For a while, life was normal. Classes, coffee shops, Netflix nights with Emma. We even joked that we got lucky. No creepy roommates. Then the messages started. They came from a single Instagram account, looking at you now. No posts, no followers, following just me. The first message was harmless. You always drink iced coffee, even when it's cold. Cute. We laughed it off. Probably someone from campus. But then, you wore the blue sweater today. My favorite. I didn't post pictures at school. I didn't tell anyone what I was wearing. He had seen me, up close. I blocked the account. Minutes later, new account. Same message style. Don't block me. We're just getting to know each other. I reported that one too. 5 more accounts followed. Emma told me to ignore it. She joked that I had an admirer, but every message felt like fingers crawling up my spine. I set all my accounts to private. I turned off location services. I covered the camera on my laptop. The messages continued anyway. I love the way you laugh when you watch movies with Emma. You should lock the bathroom door when you shower. Does she know you cry at night? My world shrank into fear. I started sleeping with a chair under my door handle. One afternoon, coming home from class, I noticed my door slightly open. Not much, just an inch. A tiny gap that stole all the air from my lungs. I rushed inside. Nothing looked missing. But then I saw my drawer, the one where I kept personal things. Clothes, perfumes, letters. Someone had gone through it, neatly, carefully, as if they wanted me to notice.
That night, I broke down crying in the living room. Emma hugged me and promised she'd talk to David about upgrading the house locks. She texted him right there. "Come home early, we need to talk." He didn't reply. Later, Emma and I watched a movie to distract ourselves. I kept glancing toward the hallway. Every noise made me jump. Halfway through the movie, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I like this movie too. I froze. Emma paused the TV. Then another message. You shouldn't trust her. Emma saw the look on my face and grabbed the phone from me. Before she could say anything, another buzz. She knew I was watching you. Emma's face went pale. She handed the phone back slowly and whispered, "Lock all the windows." We checked everything, every door, every window. The house felt too open, too exposed. Emma tried calling David several times, but it went straight to voicemail. We stayed together in the living room that night. TV on, volume low. Around 3 a.m., the doorknob to the hallway turned. Not loud, just enough to hear the internal mechanism click. We both sat up, not breathing. Then footsteps, slow, approaching. We screamed and called 911. The footsteps retreated. Police arrived within minutes. They searched every room. David's door was locked. They broke it open. His room was empty, except for 3 laptops, a wall covered in printed pictures of me, screenshots of every one of my posts, photos of me inside my room, sleeping, and a small vent in the ceiling, open, leading into the walls.
and on the desk, a phone with the most recent message unsent. I'm sorry it took me so long to get close to you. David never came home. 2 days later, the police found his car abandoned near an old pier. His phone was reset, no fingerprints, no trace. He just vanished. Everyone kept telling me I was safe now. The police, my parents, even Emma. But I don't believe them. Because last week, a letter arrived at my new apartment. No stamp, just my name on the front. Inside, a printed photo of me taken through my window, sleeping, and a handwritten message. I didn't go anywhere. I moved again yesterday. Another city, another home. I no longer leave lights on at night. I don't hang shelves or pictures. I keep everything inside boxes, ready. Because I know one day I'll look out the window and he'll be standing there, waiting for me to open the door and smile, just like he always did.
Thank you for watching. If you want more true horror stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you've lived something terrifying yourself, send me your story. You might hear it here next time. Sleep well and stay safe.